All right, here we are once again. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend. Hopefully, you guys' week started off better than Bungie's. We're gonna get right into it. Season of the Deep launched yesterday. As expected, their servers took a very long time to come back up. They did announce on Twitter through Destiny Help, I'm sorry, Bungie Help, that they would have to do an emergency maintenance to keep their servers, bringing the servers down offline completely. You not being able to allow to play Destiny because the servers couldn't handle all the influx of people getting into it or trying to get into the game. They they were memeing the crap out of them. One of the best memes, of course, is the one where the guy is standing in front of a server and he has kind of like trying to figure out what to do. It's kind of weird. We're going back into the AAA topic here that I talked about the past two videos. You guys can go back and look where they uh AAA games it feels like they have the money and ability to take care of this and not have be an issue. And this has been something that's been ongoing for years. Like one of the things that my group of friends or that we say sometimes, it's like, come on, Bungie, like seriously, 3 years, 2 years, at this point that should not be an issue. Like this should be something that has should have been taken care of a long time. They they're not an indie company. Having servers not work properly when launching something should not be the case at this point. They have the ability to not have that happen, and it did. And so people were just up in arms. Hopefully you guys that did watch and do play Destiny took my advice not even to worry about taking Tuesday off, because it doesn't work till the afternoon. Here I have some video of me playing. I was able to get in around 3 o'clock. I didn't even bother trying to get in just because there was no point. I was going to sit there. I've been fooled many times by Bungie, where I'm super excited for a season, and it just doesn't work on time. And I also think that maybe is a reason where a lot of people seem to kind of be backing away from the season model of Bungie. It's like you can't be excited to jump into a game right away because it's either you're being kicked out, they're bringing it offline, that constant trying to connect to server goes in. So sometimes you'll lose items, you'll lose if you're playing multiplayer, if you're playing in the middle of a playlist or a mission, it'll kick you out, and you're like, man, like, okay, I'm gonna go do something out. That disconnect from AAA games to us as the consumer, uh, it's a lot because you're wanting us to spend more money. They raised the price of $5, um, and they also did a bundle where it's I think $20 more. Like they added a new bundle, and this is where I think a lot of the community feels like, okay, you guys are pushing money to be your main objective, where that always works. We've never had an issue in any of the AAA games, from 343 or all these other companies that come out and there's a brand new game. What's crazy about it is that their market where you have to go buy something always seems to be extremely polished. Everything always seems to be ready to go on that end, and it makes sense. They want to make money, and if the market side isn't working, they're not making money. So it kind of sucks that you can tell where they do put the effort. Not to say that that's the only main objective, but it's just ironic that anytime these season or any of these game launch, that never seems to be an issue, right? Like you've never could you could you imagine if you got onto Destiny yesterday and all of a sudden there was just free armor to get because the market their market side wasn't working, or the shop wasn't working properly. They would take down that part, they would take down that item or that thing down and fix it within minutes because they are losing money. Um so servers were down for a while. Those who have or those of us who waited, I didn't have any issues. I started playing. I think I played for a few hours. I never had any issues with trying to get in, which is cool. Maybe that's the part that they wanted, right? They wanted that experience that once you were in, you weren't going to have any issues. But the waiting of that to finally go live took longer than what they said. Um, So that was that part. Season of the Deep is now taking place in part of a world called Titan. That was part of the vanilla Destiny 2 when launched. It was a planet. It was surrounded by water. There was a sea monster you kind of see in the water sometimes. It's really cool to get like those moments of like, oh, what is that? Like, will we ever find out or figure out what that is? And it looks like we do. To start off, there's this new section where they're putting your character into the water. You're diving in down, and there's these bubbles that you have to hit. And I really hate games, or I'm sorry, I really dislike games that force you into a mechanism where you have to get these air bubbles. Isn't he a guardian, or aren't they guardians? Aren't your characters like this superhuman? Like they have armor. Like why do we need to breathe? Why do they need some special bubble pocket to breathe underwater? That doesn't make sense. But what makes sense is maybe it's just a loading screen because you don't do much. You like fall down into the water. You have to hit these bubble or these air pockets because if you don't, your meter goes down. Then obviously you die. And then you can only walk forward. You kind of get to explore a little bit. At the moment, there really isn't much to do. You can't fight, you can't punch, you can't take out your gun. You just move from one. You fall, you move to your next section. Doors open up, and then your character, gets it has the ability to do whatever it wants. But that's in a room. There's no water. Uh, and the first. So here's I just kind of showing you here that I'm going through the season, or I'm going through the season pass, looking to see that anything catches my eye. Some armor is cool. Some of the design is okay. I really wish they would push the design of the armor for each class a bit more. That's just me as a designer and as an artist. I'm looking at these items to see like, is that something that I'm going to use? Is that something that really pushes the design of each character further, or is it just kind of keeping it in this pocket? And at the moment, it just seems that we're just kind of like the designs are kind of the designers are kind of content in a aesthetic at the moment. If you kind of go looking back, you can kind of see the theme of each item that's kind of coming. They're not pushing, I feel, the design where it would be like, man, like that seems like a monster that that seems like it's part of a boss that you destroyed and you're using armor. um, and so into the mission, I wish I could sit here and say like, you guys got to go in there. It's the best season Destiny has done, and Bungie, man, they knocked it out the park. They killed it with the season. It's not like that. Yeah. If my friends are watching, you guys are gonna know. They're gonna be like, see, this is why we don't play Destiny. It's kind of the rinse and repeat. You do the first mission, which is an intro mission explaining to you the story of what's taking place, of what's going on right now, and then you end up uh kind of learning the new mechanism as well for the season. What's going to happen, what's going to take place for you to achieve and move forward in the story. They do introduce new weapons. There's a taken version of the weapon, which is this really cool special effect that it's like, if you guys play the enemy, it looks like venom. It's like the best way to explain it. It's like smoke, and it's really cool. And so some of the weapons have that type of special effect, and then they have another weapon that seems to resemble the taken weapons, but without that special, or without that effect over it. And so that's really cool. They do have new armor for each class. They have like the initial armor for the season, and then they have the season ornament. Ornaments just means that you can put on any piece of armor, and you're able to skin it with the new item, but the perks stay the same. So which is really cool. Here, this is kind of the intro where we meet everyone kind of talks, and we figure out that, hey, like that monster that we saw in Vanilla 1 or Vanilla Destiny 2 means, that this is the character. This is what that is. We're going to try to figure out how to help it. um, and I wish these story beats were longer. I wish that as a player that you're going into a new season, they're feeding you more. And unfortunately, you do this, then they tell you to go to the helm, and then they push you to go do the new season event, which is pretty much a battleground. It's 6 player activities. You kind of, if you guys don't know what that is, you pretty much, it's like a big open place. You're fighting a lot of enemies. They're coming, they're rushing you constantly, and then you do like a mini boss. You do a debuff, mini boss, debuff, and then you kind of rinse and repeat. and then you fight the final boss at the end. It's kind of a puzzle, which is cool, but it's just the same thing. You're not really exploring a new environment, and that's in. Anyways, kind of moving on from that because I'll get back to that topic after. And then from there, then you complete that. You get your loot at the end, which is this really cool clamshell. And then you get your loot, and then you move on to like the season story, which is just that one mission you do. It kind of gives you another beat, and then the quest will continue next week. And I think this is where it's hard for me to tell my friends who aren't really into Destiny to come back and play, because we've done that for years at this point, where you do something, and then you do the event, then you do the one mission, and then you wait for the next week in order to do the next part. I think the reason I hold Season of the Hunt so high is because that was kind of the idea. But what was really cool is they gave you an old environment to explore, and within that environment, there was little puzzles to try to figure out, which was really awesome. Where you would see a like if you killed a certain enemies, it would then trigger a mini boss that you had to kind of look for, and you went through these caves, and it was really exciting. And there was like items to collect, so it kept you engaged. And then the kind of battlegrounds, or this the thing that they forced you to do, if you're already in that environment, you can join and then help other people complete that event. And that to me is a much better way to consume having to repeat something constantly, than having to be forced to do the same two locations, and then the same monster. We already know what to do, and it's not innovating. But then they're charging for more to do the exact same thing we did last week, right? So this is where, as the consumer, we have to think, is like, is this worth it? And that's kind of my goal with these videos, is to tell you guys, like, look, honestly, I've been a long time Destiny fan. um and it's even hard for me to convince my friends to come back and play. There will be a new dungeon for the season, which is really cool. I think it's the season, which I'm excited for. And then I don't know if this season or maybe next season they're gonna do a bringing they will bring back an old raid. And raid, if you guys don't know, is pretty much this giant puzzle that you get to do with six of your friends. And you have to figure out, there's people getting mad, there's people trying to figure out where a circle and a square aligns, aka boy. Um, so it's a really cool experience. But if once you guys complete that as a group of friends, that final moment of getting like an exotic piece that you can only get through a raid is really cool. Um, we did that. We did a few months ago where one of our buddies, uh, he ended up getting an exotic weapon that you can only get from there. And to me, like this is where Bungie shines. So aside from the new mission, the new weapon, the new exotic for the season, and the season pass that you get is an arc weapon. I don't recall the name at the moment. It's really cool. You have to pretty much run or sprint, and that charges the weapon. And once it's fully charged, when you shoot the arc bullets, it ends up blinding the enemies around. It's a cool concept. Like, I love it. It was really fun. Some people were already using it in excuse me, in multiplayer, and they were destroying me. It's like, man, like, then I try using it. Of course, it doesn't work for me that way. But multiplayer is fun. Like, I love playing multiplayer. There's people out there who are just beast at it, and so getting to try that weapon or seeing that weapon used already in multiplayer, it almost gives you the sense that that's going to be the meta for maybe the next few weeks or so, until Bungie decides to bring it, nerf it down, because something's wrong, right? So here we are. That's the quest. This is where event launches you to then go complete a certain steps. You're being debriefed on what to do, what your next step is going to be. And I think one of the fun parts about this is where I would say, to those who are fish lovers and people who love fishing, I think this is the best part that they did. It's so simple and it's so niche. You pretty much, all you have to do is you do the public events, or you do the missions, and you get bait, and you go into either the EDZ, which is a planet, the Venus, and then there's one more planet, and you pretty much find these like puddle of water, and you just sit there and fish. And what's cool about it is that these fishes can be like low tier or high tier armor pieces, and then you can even get a chance to get an exotic. Of course, the drop rate on that is super low, but those are the moments that I think is really cool. It's a new mechanism. It's super simple, but to me, that's engaging because it's like, oh, what are the odds? Am I getting an exotic piece or not? And then you turn those in back at like the hub center, the helm, and then you turn that in, and it gives you items. You can get ornaments from the season, weapons from the season, and then if you're lucky, you might get an exotic piece, not from the season because the that only drops from Lost Sector. And then moving into Lost Sector, this is for my UI designers. They or for the people who just love UI or UX. They finally added an icon to the destination page where you see all the planets. What was really difficult is trying to figure out where the lost sector, legendary lost sector, was for that day. What that means is pretty much it's an area where you go in, and if you beat it within a certain time, and then it's a really difficult item, difficult thing to do, you'll get exotic that could be of the season. So it's really cool because now it's like I would sit there and look and look and look and like, dude, am I blind? Like, why can't I not find the lost sector? So now it's there each week. I'm sorry, each day it resets. So it could be like a chest piece, legs, or arms for each class. The tie-in the Titan exotic is it's okay. I mean, what I saw was you put it on and then you get your grenade and you throw it, and the grenade throws a barrier. And I'm not sure if it really damages the enemy around or if it just throws a barrier, which is cool. I mean, it's all right. I think Bungie at this point has a hard time trying to figure out cool exotics that give you perks, but then they don't want the perk to be too good because then you're running through the game, or you don't want a perk to be broken because then it's not what's the word here? It's breaking the multiplayer aspect of the game. So overall, I think my initial thoughts first for the season in the deep is it's okay. It's I think the fishing aspect is the best part. Under the water, it's just like I don't really know what they're going to do with that. Maybe there will be a mission. Maybe you'll unlock abilities to move, but it's like why have to like put crumbs or feed us crumbs to just keep us engaged. That maybe shows a lack of awareness of the community, or maybe they're just putting more effort into the next Destiny game, which is going to launch after, or going to be after the final shape. Maybe these are just kind of like trying to hold us for the next few months until the final shape comes out, and then you get to your final, I believe, Destiny 3, if it'll even be called that. So it's one of those things where I hope the season continues. Like, I wish they would add more to the story and to the engagement of the player, but having to do the battlegrounds and then one mission and then battlegrounds and one mission, and then once you complete that in 5-6 weeks, you're left with nothing to do aside from just rinse and repeat, to get the titles, to get maybe a cool exotic ship, if you're really into that stuff. And so anywho, I give it a try. Let me know if you guys are really enjoying the game. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a really fun season and I'm just a bitter old Destiny player. And so we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing next week. But those are kind of my first initial thoughts for Season in the Deep. And then moving quickly over to Overwatch. Overwatch right now has a cool event that it's for Symmetra, or Symmetro for my homie Kiddo, who is a main Symmetra main. So if you guys are into that, they have an event going on right now. Maybe it ends next week, where you'll get a free skin if you complete different challenges. She's in a garden kind of design. It's really cool. Free skin, like I say, I'm always going to push for you guys to get free stuff, because it's not really free, but you're paying for it. But I want you guys to be aware of items that you might be able to achieve through gameplay. And then they did this cool skin for my boy Reinhardt, where his whole armor is in a like boxes, right? Like his whole armor, like his everything. So he looks really cool. It's probably like $20. Is it worth $20? Absolutely not. Um, but the design is there if you guys are Reinhardt mains. Like it's a cool uh, design. Or you guys can also wait maybe at the end of the year where they allow you to use the white currency to buy some of the skins. That's what I do now at this point too. I just kind of wait. Uh, and also as a reminder, that the free summer skin for Diva is still available. Just go to your Twitch account or your Prime Twitch, and then connect your Blizzard account with that, and then you'll get that free skin. Claim it. Also, the same thing with Destiny. They have the bundle where you connect your Blizzard. I'm sorry, you connect your Bungie with your Prime account, and boom, like you'll have it too. It's free. Again, you guys are paying for the server service. Why not get these free items that you're being kind of charged with, but not for the games? Let's see what else. Oh, and then also shout out to Moko and Cold for we did the XP weekend. It was a lot of fun. I think we leveled up like shit ton of times. So that was really cool to level up. We had a good time. And I am gonna go back to playing Destiny just because I want to maybe yesterday I was just kind of had all these expectations and maybe the season is better than what I expected. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope you guys had a good time this week. I hope the video was informative. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you guys did Overwatch, if you guys really love the new season, if you guys love the new design of the armor. Like I can be 100% wrong. It's my opinion. It's cool. Let's have a conversation. And I don't know, man. I think it was. I was expecting maybe too much, but maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully Bungie can prove me wrong. I don't know. I want to be proved wrong. Season of the Deep. It'd be a great season.